May 2025. May was a very exciting month for bus developments. Kingsbridge used air to retire 4 2010 LFSAs, 1214, 1266, 1277, and 1288. And if you want to be a cynical piece of shit, you could technically say, oh, well, the XE40s retired the LFSAs. Okay, I'll let you win that one. Gun Hill retired LFSAs 1218 and 1280 in early July, and 1230 in August. That left a total of 16 2010 LFSAs retired, listed here. The total of 2010 Novas now stands at 74 units, down from 90. 1/6 of all 2010 Novas have now been retired. 48 units remain at Gun Hill, and 26 units remain at Kingsbridge. So Gun Hill essentially has double the amount of 2010s that Kingsbridge has. Ooh, I feel sorry for y'all. 1231 is at Zariga as of August. It hasn't run since April 28th. However, it is not retired as of yet. They also got 2019 XD60s from Hale as loans, likely to make up for the fleet shortage caused by this. Bronx LFSAs were also loaned or transferred to the depot. West Farms got 2015 XD40 7129-32 from East New York through late May, after the latter received XE40s for service. 3 LFS HEVs were used for service on May 7th. XN60 1033 was transferred from Gleason to West Farms. Manhattanville retired Next Gen 4673 and gave LFS HEVs 9770-9772 to Gun Hill on May 15th. In exchange, Gun Hill gave option order LFS HEVs 9801, 18, and 28 to Manhattanville on May 22nd. Well, we don't want them now. Y'all done messed them all up. Why y'all giving them to us now? What the heck, man? And here were some Queens loans which took place. A little bit chaotic, but not as chaotic as what's coming up. East New York received 8 XE40s in May, 4973, 4976, 78, 4988 to 4991, and 4999 from Grand and Quill for official usage. That left Kingsbridge with 4 XE40s, Grand with 30, Quill with 16, East New York with 8, and Charleston with 3, for a total of 61 units. This marked the first time they had received official XE40s for service, after having tested XE40 equipment with their chargers for months. On May 15th, the first XE40 trip on an East New York route took place with 4976 on the B12. 3rd Gens 7047 and 7049 are currently at the East New York CMF as of May 20th, so they might be repaired from their IDA damages. Meanwhile, 3rd Gen 7082 was retired in late May due to some fire damage sustained in November of 2024. Brooklyn depots used more loans from each other, listed here. I don't feel like saying all that, so just read it. Former Eastchester Training Next Gens 4122, 66, 85, 4210, 4546, as well as 4686, a retired Stengel Next Gen from 2010, were sent to Eastchester scrap. Baisley Next Gens 4502 and 4570 had taken a quick visit to Zariga between April 21st and 24th, but were not retired. In May, however, Baisley Park did retire these Next Gens. They retired 4468, 4500, 4502, and 4570. Their Next Gen total dropped to a mere 3 units, which they used throughout June. JFK retired Next Gens 4344, 56, and 4416, which were sent to Eastchester scrap in June. Before 4356 retired, it had a Kingsbridge sticker on May 9th. Keep in mind 4340 to 4407 used to belong to Kingsbridge. And if you want to go further, you could technically say 4330 to 4407 were all part of Kingsbridge. So seeing a Kingsbridge sticker on one of them should not surprise us. It just meant that all the other stickers fell off. Anyways, JFK was now left with 9 Next Gens, which lasted through the month of June until they were transferred 4343, 4360, 4388, 4401, 4430, 4525, 2734, and 4545. These units got to frolic at the new interim 168th Street bus terminal. We did have some XD40 visits to Far Rockaway through 2025, namely with 9312, 14, 34, 38, and others. LaGuardia went on a Next Gen retirement frenzy through May, retiring 7 units, 44, 69, 83, 91, 4504, 65, 69, and 4630 on May 28th. Many of these units were sent to Eastchester scrap on June 2nd, while 4483 and 4491 were eventually sent to Zariga. 4501 performed its last run on May 29th, then was sent to Eastchester Scrap in June. I later went to visit the retired units on June 25th. This left 4 Next Gens in service throughout June: 4507, 4510, 4557, and 4566. Ironically, I never really cared for the LaGuardia Next Gens much, which I guess is why I treated the LaGuardia Conehead order as a flyby order until the Q32 went to LaGuardia. However, I still got the chance to catch the last couple units on their second to last day of service. Wild. I get to reap the benefits without doing any of the hard work. Sound like anyone you know? College Point began flirting with the idea of returning the 2023 XT40s to LaGuardia in February. However, in May, they went through with the idea. This may have helped LaGuardia retire most of their remaining Next Gens also. 9272 to 9277 were returned from College Point to LaGuardia between May 13th and May 16th. Several buses also took major hits, with 7276 catching fire on May 27th, being immediately sent to scrap, 7356 ramming into a garbage truck on April 26th, 7541 catching fire on March 31st, LFS 8213 catching fire on the S93 on April 29th, being retired the next month, and XN60 1099 catching fire on May 17th but being able to return to service, which for a CNG is a big deal. 2019 LFS 8739 also caught fire inside of Gun Hill Depot on the early morning of March 10th. It damaged the window of LFS 8620, but the latter was able to return to service. 8739, however, is now at Eastchester Scrap. Crazy how all these diesel fires are happening. On March 3rd, 2025, the numbers for the new Flyer XE60s we have anticipated for years were released. The fleet is going to be numbered from 5603 to 5692, 90 XE60s in total. 5603, the first 2025 XE60, was delivered to Zuriga on April 11th, but then sent to Neber Ronkonkoma on May 24th. It's essentially a long roof bus with the local scheme. And here were some notable runs which took place in May. The MTA's final rendition of the Queens Bus redesign was published on December 17, 2024, and was approved on January 29, 2025. New bus signs began going up as of February 19th. Many of the new Phase 1 route codes were created as of March 29th, with routes Q45, Q61, Q67, and Q98 being located. On March 27th, buses received updated signage to indicate Jamaica Bus Terminal rather than Jamaica 165th. Route training for the new bus routes began on April 18th and continued up until the redesign went into effect. One of the first examples of this strenuous process of route training was C40LF 206 training along the Q26 and Q28 on April 19th, because the Q26 and Q28 were two routes that shifted from Stingle to College Point. So College Point operators needed to learn how to run those new routes. This took place pretty much at all Queens depots from April to June. On May 2nd, the MTA began plans to relocate buses to the interim 168th Street Terminal, which was built at an old parking lot. May 31st was the last day of 165th Street Terminal before it was shut down for repairs. It may open up again in the future, but for the time being, 168th Street is the terminal for buses, closer to the F-train station. The last buses for each specific route to serve that terminal on the evening of May 31st are listed here. Credit to MTA Bus Transit Fanner for the list. I believe 8021 on the Q2 was the last one to serve 165th Street Terminal. Now, 168th Street Terminal has been in the planning book since early 2023, with a price tag of $1.6 million. We had schematics for it and everything. They shut down all the stores at 165th Street on September 8, 2023 in anticipation for the move to 168th Street Terminal. All the stores at 165th remain closed from that day until the end of May 2025. That was an incredibly long stretch, almost 2 years. How inconvenient. Could you imagine all the revenue they lost? Anyways, that's it for the summary for April and May. Hope you enjoyed, and June and July is going to have to be a separate video because a lot of crazy stuff happened in those months. I'm talking all of the MTA Bus Next Gens being shifted to NYCT or retired. Jamaica Bus Terminal opening at 168th. A crazy Staten Island situation which resulted in a lack of maintenance. I'll leave you right here. If you guys enjoyed the video, please subscribe and stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching.